Are you a tradesperson? Are you a tradesperson who struggled with getting fair payment or getting a good contract because of negotiations? Negotiations is very important as a tradesperson because when you negotiate the legalities of your contract here, you're now saying, yes, I'm okay with everything what we've said, and we're going to go forward with the plan, what we've got scheduled out. And sometimes that allows you to say to yourself, nah, do you know what? We need to reschedule this because something's not working out for me. And that sometimes might be the money what you're getting. But one second, I just want to move something. I should have done this before I started, but hey, let's do it now. It just looks better now. Right. So I've been working within construction and building maintenance for a number of years now. And the things which I've learned, which is learning how to negotiate your deal. What do you mean by that? So normally when you go for a job, there is something which is called a job spec. Yeah. You ask to read the job spec, you go through it in thorough detail. So you're understanding what they've asked you to do as an engineer. So once you've understood those things, you might make up some questions which you want to ask in an interview. I recently had an interview, so it's quite fresh on my mind, and I kind of like remember what I said in the interview, which was today. So I spoke to a gentleman. I explained my level of skill set, and I wanted to go around to see the site to be able to see what were the problems, what were the areas where they wanted me to focus, and how we're going to structure the maintenance, because I work on a maintenance contract, right? So I want to know the KPIs, what time we have to be able to respond to reactive jobs. And I want to know if there's a category of reactive jobs, which I did find out. But I also want to know how the planning of the maintenance, the PPMs, is going forward, because that's always going to affect me, because I'm going to be the person organizing it and obviously organizing contractors as well. So I always want to make sure I'm clear with that, but also allowing the person to see that I have a good understanding about what we should be looking after and how we look after it. Because the sharing of the information in those areas, when it comes to you, your contracts manager, and maybe the client, that's very important. And I've found numerous amounts of times, because the manager is very cool with the contracts manager, contracts manager is very cool with the accounts manager or the person who runs the site. Therefore, they've got some type of relationship going on. But everyone else who doesn't adhere to their type of standards or how they've been having a relationship with them isn't really going to get along, because they're not doing the same as, let's call them Paul, right? So I asked, what type of relationship do you have as a contracts manager with this other person? And they told me they had a really good relationship. They go out for drinks, they socialize, blah, 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 which was a good understanding to say, okay, you lot are on the friendship level. It's not just business when it comes to just how we need to get stuff done. And maybe they like you for your personality when it comes to outside, because they spend a duration of time with you. Again, if you never ask the fucking questions, none of these people will ever tell you in any breath, any light. So definitely ask the questions. I had a barrage of questions to ask. I think I had 10 questions to ask in total, just off of the space of like, if I'm going to spend an hour there talking to those people, believe me, I'm going to come at you with a few difficult questions, but questions which I kind of like need the answers to. And the questions they followed on the sense of like I said to you, first thing I like to, not the first thing, but one of the things I can think of off the top of my head, which was about overtime and hours worked. And then when we look at like what's the bulk of the contract? The bulk of the contract is, let's say, their fan call units, right? So how much time have we got allocated per fan call per floor, right? So if someone tells you an hour, then you're able to work out, okay, in an hour's time, I should be able to move on to each one and do everyone individually. What I understand from doing phone call servicing, yeah, is that it depends which one you're doing. If you're doing a 6 months or you're doing a yearly one, obviously, isn't it? But generally, we're going to be checking the coil for damage. We're going to also be checking the actuator, if they've got one on there, if it moves up and down. We're also going to be cleaning the filter as well. And we're also going to be testing the temperature. But that's going to be on like a final service. That's what that's going to be. That's going to be like your yearly service, yeah? So you might have your 6 months in between, which is just cleaning the filter. And again, having a visual look around things. And if you're looking at so many things which are symmetrical, yeah, which are very much the same, basically. You're looking at a fan call on one floor, another floor, another floor, another floor. They're all the same. They all look the same. There's going to have to be some time which you're going to have to spend so you can make sure you're being thorough in it, because you're the only person to check it. So therefore, you're the only person that's going to sign off on it. So this is like things which I've understood what I take with me today, which is making sure that I'm thorough and being due diligent is the reason why someone would headhunt me to get me into a position like this. And I take a lot of caution when I go into something like this, because even though people are being open and possibly telling you this is the first time we've ever done a contract like this, what we want someone who's experienced and blah, 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 blah. So now they've come to someone like me. I've said, okay, let me have a little look around. Let me talk to you guys and let me get some feedback and let me get back to you, because I also have to make my assumption of how I feel it went for myself, whether I feel that them being unorganized when it comes to being able to maintain what we've asked to be maintained, that burden starts to fall on your own shoulders. And your own, when I'm saying me or you, in it, someone who's actually doing the job. I want that burden to be as light as possible, and obviously as understanding when you know you've got difficult customers and clients, yeah, through the type of establishment which you're in, because I can't tell you about the establishment, but we can guess what I'm talking about. You have a better understanding on what you're dealing with. And what I'm dealing with and what I'm faced with right now is is something which is new, in it, because they've not ever done this before themselves. So things can go wrong. So there needs to be a contingency plan in place, but there needs to be some leverage for a switch up or a little bit of a change. When I mean a switch up or a little bit of a change, I mean they've got to be understanding that now they've possibly got this contract, things could go left a little bit, or they might have to increase the amount of workload what we're doing because it might not be efficient. Do you get it? And efficiency works best when it comes to maintenance. You can't run around from tail to head at the end of the day, because you will never get stuff done. And that's not how stuff is done. More organized practice and execution is how it's done when it comes to maintenance. But I guess people feel sometimes they can pull in as many favors as they can at some points and will try and muck in and get it done. Nobody wants to be doing that. We want to be in a comfortable position. We want to be able to replace and replenish any stock which we haven't got today, because we're running a service, yeah? And that's what it is when you do run a service, whether it's a residential, whether it is a commercial place, because I've done split units which are commercial and residential. So, you know, you have to have an understanding of what you're trying to achieve at the end of the day. And what you're trying to achieve is a medium grounds of service, because you can't say you're going to give impeccable service through across the board, because you're still doing split service, you're doing repairs, you're doing PPMs. So there needs to be a level of understanding how you're going to get that done. What's happening? Is that Abdul in the chat? Big you up, bro. So what I want to say to people is just that your negotiation on how you talk about your deal or your contract, which you're getting with the employment, it matters big time. Because if someone tells you that there's no overtime, you might be there to make money, which you're not going to make money because there is no overtime, right? So you have to factor that into it. And then you've got to have the understanding that there's going to be some hiccups and some hurdles at the beginning. Again, I know that 99% of workplaces, building services, they don't run smoothly. And again, there's a lot of people behind the scenes pulling strings and trying to help people, but it's a team effort, innit? And as long as it's a team effort, you can always get by and get better as long as people are willing to admit the points where they're not strong at certain things, right? So I might not be strong at Windows, Excel or something, yeah? But there might be someone who is better at it. Ask them to do it, but ask to learn from them. That's what's going to help me. It's not going to help me if I'm always giving my workload to them. That's not going to help anybody. So things like team building and working together as a team to solve problems, like, you know, every maintenance company needs to have a big whiteboard, yeah, just to be able to explain the jobs which we've got hanging out or the jobs which we've got coming in, right? Because priority and making people aware of things is inclusion inside the workplace. That doesn't happen sometimes because people like to hold down power to themselves and say, oh, we only know about it, we're going to tell them on Thursday, because if we tell them today, they'll be upset. No one's living like that or working like that anymore. Let's just be open about the problems and the issues which we do have inside the workplace so we can address them, approach them and tackle them. Yeah, that's my outlook when it comes to building services. But I suppose there are a lot of people that do things in old school methods, or like buying things one at a time and stuff like that, when you know you've got a lot of them, so you should buy a bulk of them because it's definitely going to be cheaper. But you can say, oh, we're not fitting them now. Oh yeah, but no one's really going to check the books for something what costs £200 or £300, are they? They're not. They're going to say stock. So unless there's some reason why we can't stock on site, then let us know, because as far as I'm concerned, that's a kind of like a necessary thing that needs to be done. Because from what I can see sometimes with some setups, yeah, and all different workplaces are different. They might have a good, they might have a really good system in place where they order stuff, yeah. But I strongly believe in actually having stock available to be able to fit, because it just saves so much time and effort, and it stops people from being like upset, you know, like, oh, what do you mean you ain't got a tap, or what do you mean you ain't got this or got a filter, or what do you mean it's going to take a week? There are some places which pay a premium, innit? They pay a premium which is called a service charge, whether it comes to a residential building or something like that, and people expect to be able to get that service. And when you're the last point of contact, which might be the engineer or the supervisor or someone that goes down to speak to someone, yeah, the buck kind of stops with you, you know, because people have spoke to you about it and they want you to deal with the situation. It's how you deal with the situation. Cool and calm and collective is always necessary, but it doesn't happen sometimes when people come at you in a way which is like, oh, well, you said you was going to fix it. Oh, well, when are you going to fix it? But sometimes you cannot tell people a definitive answer, and that becomes a problem. Yeah, so I like to alleviate problems, limitate problems, but also manage them as well, man, because it's what you do at that particular time will possibly have a knock-on effect on the outcome of the situation. So yeah, that's my kind of thoughts on it. Shout out to Abdul in the chat. He said, I want to start my plumbing journey. Right, I've started a 3-part documentary on my plumbing journey, on how I started a business, what I done next, and I put up a part 3. So there's gonna be, I think, maybe 6 parts to it. So definitely check that out. The video's out now on my page, so you can definitely check it out. I've got part 2 out on my page already as well. So 1 and 2 is up there already. So definitely check those videos out. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And this was about negotiations. And my key point, what I want you guys to take away from this, is if you don't talk with your mouth, you will never get it. If you don't express that you need a better contract, or the hours are not working, or you're specifically looking for less money but more training, if you don't say it, it's not going to happen. That's the reality of this building trade industry. Always negotiate before you say yes. But make sure you put those thumbs up in the comment section and subscribe to the channel, because we're uploading every day and we've got different content every day. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, people, and I'll see you on the next upload. Let's get it.